Yeah, please do.
So guys, check this out. Art of Whiskey here with the Whiskey Blender. We got our guy Tim. And your name?
Ernie.
Ernie.
He's on my team.
He's on your team. Now, Ernie, you literally just got out of your seat and like, yo, I gotta help this guy. What about him drinking whiskey drove you nuts?
It didn't drive me nuts. It's just a common mistake that you see people make when they're drinking whiskey. They nose it, and they get in there and they really dig for it, and that ethanol burns the nose.
Yeah.
But
there was, and you gave him 130 proof whiskey,
which was hard.
So if he's got that much ethanol and like huffing that, like there's no way he's going to pick up on anything.
He's not going to taste it.
Even if he's experienced, he won't be able to.
Yeah.
So getting something a little lower proof that has some character, some fruitiness, or we could even use some of the PX Sherry stuff to start training his nose.
Yeah.
Because that one that we added a little water to was probably around 100 proof, and it was so like jammy and like raspberry preserves and something that like it was like smelling jam. So using something like that.
How you start teaching them to use their nose, use their palate.
Yeah.
So walk them through the process, because this dude, so what you guys don't know, he's had a broken nose since he was like 11th grade. What, 12th grade?
No, 10th grade.
10th grade, and that was, fast forward, he's like 26 now. So last year he had, what was it, septic surgery?
Yeah, it was broken so bad, I needed a septoplasty, but they couldn't do it, so they had to open the whole thing up, and technically it's a rhinoplasty if they cut your nose through out here and pull it up.
So
that's probably not helping you.
No, it definitely isn't.
So I didn't want to give that one away until we got on camera, because he's always had trouble breathing out of one nostril for at least 5-6 years.
Yeah, so you will have a dominant nostril, and that was what Tim brought to you, is, you definitely want to try each nostril and see.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had a dominant nostril. They were just both turned off for a while.
Yeah.
The faucet got cut. So now that these guys are whiskey wizards. I'm just here making the moment make sense. What's the trick then to basically allowing the palate to embrace something that's got this much flavor? Like you said, higher power is just gasoline. If that's where you're starting. But
like when I'm trying stuff, or if I'm doing a flight for somebody that comes in to do a whiskey tasting, we'll usually start with either an easier drinker or something lower proof, and go low proof to high proof, because it's like, if you drink something that's like the Liquid Independence that's 144.8 proof that he just picked up. If you start with that and then go to something that's 80 proof, like you're not even gonna taste it. It's like drinking a Bud Heavy and then going to a Bud Light, or like that's really with anything. But so you can ramp up, and then also the first drink that you have is gonna kind of shock your palate a little bit, like we talked about.
Set the tone.
Set the tone. So it's good to have like a palate starter kind of deal, to where it's easier drinking. It kind of wakes you up, and then it's like, okay, now I'm ready to play ball. But your first thing, if it's 130 proof right out of the gate, then it's like, okay, this isn't the game I want to play, is what your palate's saying. So, but if you work into that a little bit, then it's.
So is it kind of like wine, where you start with maybe a white or some champagne and build up to like a heavy red?
You don't want your most full-bodied, spicy wine first, and then you wouldn't go to a light, fruity, because you're still going to have that residual. Mm-hmm. So,
and for example, I'll do something called a turkey trot. I love Wild Turkey. It's my favorite distillery. So when I do a lineup of Wild Turkey, I'll start with Turkey 101 to prep the palate. It's a high rye whiskey,
and it's a similar profile. What he's about to go on.
Yep, and so you can go on this journey, this turkey trot, if you will, where you start with diluted, and then you work your way up to rare breed, which is a little higher, and then as a Russell's guy, that 110 mark is my perfect spot. But prepping the palate's important.
Yeah.
And the fastest way to prep the palate is nosing the whiskey. It's a transition.
We were talking about this yesterday with one of the teams. Like, I was telling them, like, when I go to like Kentucky or do a barrel pick or whatever prior to having this place, I would almost treat it like it's an Olympic event that I'm preparing for the week. So I'm making sure, this is kind of to the extreme, but if I'm spending $20,000 on a barrel, I want to make sure to pick the right one. So I will make sure that I have like ample sleep the night before. I'm not drinking the night before. I'm not eating anything like super spicy the night before. The breakfast is a good base layer. Like I'm eating waffles and like
I avoid
pancakes
coffee in the
and,
morning when I do a barrel selection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. So then I'm getting a good base layer, and I try to have at least an hour to where I'm not eating anything. You know, I'm not chewing gum. I'm not brushing my teeth right before I try a whiskey, like those things. So now like I've had enough sleep. I'm in the right mindset. Like my palate's ready. So then like I can drink for many hours trying things as long as I stay hydrated. So I'm also hydrating the night before with a lot of water. So yeah, it's almost like a marathon to where you have to be very intentional with what you're doing if you have a big thing going. So like when we're making our blend potentially next week, like that's how I'm going to treat it, because I want to be in the best shape to be able to try things very quickly, be decisive, move on to the next thing. So if I'm not there, then it's going to be tough for me to add the value that I need to add to beat who we're going to beat.
And we're going to beat them.
I think we're going to beat them.
We're going to beat them.
I think we're going to beat them.
Well, it sounds like you guys are very decisive, very clear about what you're looking for, and even more importantly, very addictive on how you process whiskey. And that's what we're here for, guys, to make sure you who might be interested. Whiskey right now in the world's number 3 in terms of spirits. I like to see it climb just because every time you see something exchanged in a movie, it's bourbon, it's whiskey, it's brandy, it's something brown. It's something slow, something that forces you to calm yourself down. And I love even the pace that he walked Jack through. And on some of our shorts, you see how do you feel after going through the process he just put you through?
I actually understand it a little bit now.
You feel a little more confident on like, hey, here's the process. I might not fully understand it right now, but let me do this a few more times, and then it's like you're gonna slowly progress and like, okay, now I get the plum off of this, and so if we had you try some of that EX sherry that we proofed down, well, depending on how messed up your nose is, you would potentially.
Fuck, bro. It's better now.
You'd potentially smell something, but you would definitely be able to taste the wine influence from it versus something else. So
I'm interested too because I think sometimes it's like life experiences too.
sure.
You're like all of a sudden, he's been doing whatever, and so everything about his life has been paced. Like get through it, move on, and then even like where I'm at now, you go, man, let's slow down a little bit. Smell the roses and embrace what's happening, because we can't control any of that shit. Like you're young, you just keep blowing through shit. When you get old, you're like, hey, I can't move that fast anymore, man.
Yeah, whiskey is definitely about slowing down. The only times you aren't is when they're doing a blending competition like those guys are. So they're under the clock. What is it? I can't see the clock.
51 minutes.
51 minutes left.
Oh yeah.
So they're 9 minutes into their blend. So that now, I mean, they're hustling, trying to go through it, but that's not. This is for fun, that's for charity kind of thing. Normally, whiskey is about slowing down time and having real meaningful conversations and relationships with people that are already in your life and also new people. I'm sure Ernie's met some new people just from being a member here that he's friends with now. So,
and I meet people every time I'm here. I get to experience something new, and I love. I've known this kid since he was 16 years old, 15, and so to see him, basically still be with me on my journey while he still competes, and then you see like the connective tissue because you get around one person and another person and everybody gets better.
Yeah.
And that's the real goal in this thing. So we'll be practicing drinking whiskey, and of course I had to buy me another bottle. That's why I was like, just try the higher power.
So we got a guy that we actually you met him, Landon, at the Serve event last week.
Yeah.
Kind of tall, skinny young kid.
Yeah, he was in here. We talked to him a long time ago.
Yeah. So we hired him part time while he's here, and so he turns 21 on July 4th.
Oh!
2 days.
So
he's actually been learning a little bit about whiskey, and now he's like, man, and he's been nosing stuff. So
he's ready to go.
And he's wanting to learn about it. So
drink
that'll
whiskey
be
on your birthday, not vodka.
That'll be interesting to see how he does, like, because I'm sure we'll do a birthday pour maybe, Friday when he's in here.
Are you guys open on July 4th?
We are.
I'll see you guys July 4th. I'll be here. Guys, keep it whiskey, man.